Okay, so I ended up actually making a bunch of progress off camera on the 72. Just there's a little more pressure to get this one all put together because I'm trying to sell this one, but we have a new carb installed. Still working on figuring out how I'm gonna get the air boot to properly fit there, because those are hard to find and it's quite a weird size. So not sure about the solution there yet. Let's see, we've got the tank fitted back on with a new fuel valve, so we shouldn't be leaking anymore next time we try and fuel up. You can see that there, looking nice and shiny. Here's the carb from the other side installed. Pretty stoked about how that came together. This one also still has a pretty decent oil reservoir cover, which is pretty cool. I gave this bike a really good bath. You can see how much grime and crap there was. Still need to do an oil change on it, but yeah, it's coming together nicely. Gonna get new emblem ordered up. 5,000 miles on it. Dash system looks pretty good. Not the greatest, but yeah, it's a beauty. Just needs a little more love. Other than that, we just got to make sure we get it back to running, and then somebody else will have the opportunity to do the full restoration on this bike. And hopefully in the coming week or so, it'll be back on the road. Just got some oil draining out of this. No metal flakes or anything like that. Yeah, my oil pan's been outside, so what? But man, it was stinky. So yeah, I'm glad that we got rid of this old stuff. I don't have any new oil to put in it right now. I've got a little bit left from the other can, so I'm just gonna keep flushing the system. But definitely needed a good oil change because this stuff smelled. Alrighty, so this is how she stands post oil change. Just need that rear fender, and I'm gonna paint the front fender black to match the rear one. All in all though, looking really good. We're pretty close to seeing if she runs. Just gotta finish hooking up the carb. Okay guys, a couple of good updates here. We got a new badge for the side of the tank, which just really brings the whole build together. And then new carb is installed. Throttle cable seems okay. This is the idle adjustment right now. I have it, so it's hopefully gonna idle fairly high, just for starting it up a little easier. Choke looks good, and now we just have to try and fit the air filter on here, because right now I don't have a way to get into the actual air box. So we're gonna try and run just an external air filter for the time being to see if we can actually get this bike to run until somebody lists one of these weird air boots on eBay. Okay, so here's my retrofit solution for the time being. We just have an off-road open style air filter strapped up to the back of the Mikuni. Took off the air box, but it's super easy to put back on. 3 screws. So once I do find a boot, then I can go ahead and restore it back to original, but this will at least get me running and riding for the time being. And somebody might actually enjoy this because it should be better airflow. And if you're not gonna take it out in super wet conditions, it'll be fine. So we can go ahead and install fuel line, fuel filter, and then it's ready to get fired up and get its first test. Okay, here's what we're looking like. We got fuel line, nice and simple, air filter, fuel filter, everything. Carb's all buckled down, nice and tight. So now we just gotta load it up with some gas, make sure it doesn't leak. And then from there, we should be good to fire this up. Okay, bike number 2. This is the one that we're gonna be selling, hopefully. We got fresh oil in it. And we're gonna see if we can't get it to start. This will be its first start in a long time. It's in neutral. This one hasn't run in ages apparently. So really don't know what to expect, but definitely want to strap up my shoes for this one. Probably just don't have spark, honestly. That's the one thing I didn't check yet on this bike. I'm sure that that's the issue. So, I'm going camping. I'll be back 2 days. We'll check for spark, and then we'll get this bike riding. Okay guys, we just diagnosed the problem. So this is the CDI off of my 71, which should be same thing as the CDI on this 72. One of the issues that could cause no spark is if this failed. So what I did, I knew that this caused spark on the 71, swapped it out, plugged it in. It's not attached or anything, but check this out when I try and get spark going here. We got it. Swapped out for a new ignition coil. Was getting spark with it in this setup. So this is what it looks like. Blue wire up top, black wire on bottom, grounded on this side. This is the horn, so not too worried about that. Don't really care what it does. We've got a new battery in there, but it's not hooked up yet, just kind of strapped in place. And then the new CDI unit, well, new to this bike, this is the one from my 71, is now locked in, plugged in. I just have to organize these wires, throw the tank back on, and then we're gonna try and fire it up and see what happens with this 1972 TS185 from Suzuki. All right guys, here's how we're sitting currently. We have lots of parts that we've put back on, installed new parts, new carb, etc. So honestly, if it does start, it's gonna run terribly because the carb is not adjusted at all. And it's some cheaper Amazon Mikuni carb. So let's hope for the best. Honestly, if it even starts, I'm gonna be so excited. But really, at this point, no idea what to expect. The only thing that we can do, hop on. We know we have spark. We know we have compression. Let's just see if we can't get this bike to run, ride, and roll. Oh. So that sounds like something's terribly off on the carb. Yeah, it runs. Yeah, we got some adjusting to do. Holy cow. Okay. First order business, let's pull this exhaust off and try and nip that exhaust leak in the bud real quick. All right, so the exhaust comes off real easy. Got it here on the side, cleaned up the end. Overall, it looks good. It just needs the proper gaskets to actually seal. So I've got them right here. I'm gonna throw it on, see if we can't get this thing to run without sounding horrible. Okay, so these were the two parts that I just put in, the two gaskets. Not sure if they were 100% correct, but they fit really well. And it seems to be a nice tight seal now. Only way to find out is fire this up again, see what it does. choke. That's pretty decent. All right, guys, so this is the 72 Suzuki TS185. Finally put the 71 CDI unit in here, and I do have spark now, so we can get it fired up. It'll run, but I haven't adjusted the carb at all, so it's running kind of crazy. It's idling at like 3,000 RPM. But let me go ahead and show you guys what we got going on and how it sounds. It's not as nice sounding as the 71, but hey, she's a runner. Maybe. So that's where we're at. She runs, she rides. That was actually shifted all the way into third gear on that, so that's kind of neat. Pretty happy with it overall. If anything, before I sell it, might strip the exhaust and paint it black to make it a little nicer for whoever picks it up, but just got to tune the carb and it'll be a good rider. There she is. Thank you guys for following along in this build. This was super fun. This is my first time working on motorcycles, and couldn't be happier that I was able to pull a bunch of parts together for this bike and get her up, get her running, and get her riding. Definitely will be doing this again sometime in the near future, hopefully. As soon as we get a garage or a barn or something, it's over. I'll be doing projects all the time. But this bike is going to be for sale now. I feel like the only thing it really needs at this point, obviously go through the wiring harness, making sure that all works well. But this heat shield on the exhaust, I'm going to do a final bolt down system so that way it actually stays in place. That's the rattling that you guys were hearing on that, so no big deal there. It will need a new clutch lever here. This one's just, it's on its way out. Clutch doesn't feel bad though. It's just pretty easily. And then basically just a nice cleanup after it's run for a bit. Maybe frame off, sandblast, and repaint would be like the ideal situation, but that's a lot of time and a lot of money for an old bike like this. So hopefully somebody picks it up from me off of Marketplace. Shoot me a message if you're interested and in Oregon. And that's all for the 1972 TS185. Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.